With the release of Edge of Fate, Bungie has finally added probably one of the most requested features in Destiny's history: a firing range. And this is a big deal because it gives us a controllable environment to test weapons and damage rotations in a location that is both more accessible and convenient than testing against raid or lost sector bosses, and it also gives us real-time damage and DPS numbers. So, to test out this brand new play space for myself, I decided what better than to retest Critical Anomaly against Praediff's Revenge. A few weeks ago, I made a video claiming that by the time Edge of Fate launched, Critical Anomaly would be a weapon you'd want in your loadout, because its unique interactions with the seasonal artifact could make it one of the better options for DPS. However, that video was pure speculation. Now we can test it alongside the perks for real. So I loaded up the firing range with my friend Dodo and recreated our tests from before. Only this time, I didn't have to spend 30 minutes hijacking my friend's raid just to get these results. In the original video, my Critical Anomaly had Chill Clip with bait and switch, but I noted that rewind rounds would probably be a better option for DPS, so for these tests I took my own advice and made that change to my role. I also ran one with Frost and Fever and Chill on the seasonal artifact, as just like in the previous video, I had noted that these perks would benefit Critical Anomaly massively. The first test we did was both snipers alongside a teammate's Well of Radiance. I used the same auto rifle and LMG for both snipers just to activate their bait and switch perks. And we tested both of these weapons a couple times each just to make sure we were being consistent, and then noted the average for all those results. So with just Well of Radiance and no other damage bonuses, Praediff's Revenge was dealing around 500 DPS and an average of 14,577 damage. It's worth noting that for Praediff specifically, kinetic tremors was still pulsing after I stopped shooting. While that increased the total damage, it did reduce the DPS value, so take that into consideration. Previously, when we ran these tests against Templar, Praediff's Revenge was doing around 29% more damage than Critical Anomaly. Now, I was expecting Critical Anomaly to make up some of that difference with the change to rewind rounds and the addition of the seasonal artifact perks. But what I really didn't expect was for Critical Anomaly to completely surpass Praediff. Around 660 DPS and 14,671 total damage. Our next test was, just like in my original video, with Darcy added into the mix, which allowed Critical Anomaly to take an even larger lead thanks to Darcy's perk that buffs the precision damage of nearby legendary snipers, which does not affect kinetic tremors on Praediff's Revenge. That left Praediff with an average of about 591 DPS and 17,266 damage, while Anomaly managed about 806 damage and 180,003 damage. These two tests can give us a rough idea on the difference between the two weapons by themselves, but it doesn't mean they'd perform the same in an actual DPS scenario. So for our final test, and the one that we didn't do in the original video, we threw both weapons into an actual damage rotation. I left my build exactly the same, except for my heavy, which I swapped for Hezen Vengeance with Envious Bait and Switch. And my friend Dodo kept both Darcy and Well of Radiance up, this time doing a damage rotation of their own to make sure the build-up of Darcy's buff would be realistic. After this test, Praediff and Hezen managed to deal an average of 809 DPS and 23,636 damage, while Anomaly and Hezen managed around 886 DPS and 25,739 damage. Now, in Praediff's defense, after reviewing footage, I think it could be argued I leaned a little too heavy on both snipers during this test, rather than using my Hezen, and Praediff does excel at passive damage thanks to kinetic tremors. But even then, I think the results are clear enough to crown Critical Anomaly as the winner, the comeback of all sniper-related comebacks, which is admittedly a very small bracket. And this isn't even taking into consideration the other benefits Critical Anomaly has this season, with the seasonal artifact perks allowing for additional damage resistance through Fever and Chill and Shoulder to Shoulder, as well as playing into additional perks like Frost Renewal and Shield Crush. And while this video has mostly focused on Critical Anomaly's DPS potential, it's also worth noting that other artifact perks make this a great choice in general content too. Mossy Max even highlighted that Critical Anomaly, being the only free shot stasis sniper in in the entire game, has a unique interaction where it can activate Fever and Chill and Frigid Glare in a single sniper shot. So, whether you're running the new raid this week or grinding higher world tiers for new loot, I once again advocate for leaving a space on your loadout for Critical Anomaly.